In this project, we assessed the acute effects of oil and dispersant exposure on the common murre. Chemical dispersants are used during oil spill response to disperse oil from the surface and down into the water column. While there is a wealth of data documenting the effects of oil exposure on seabirds and on seabird plumage, there's much less knowledge regarding the effects of chemical dispersants. In oil spill response policy and practice, appropriate dispersant use is often considered to provide a net environmental benefit compared to allowing spilled oil to remain at the surface or come ashore. Our goal was to test this assumption specifically with regard to the acute impacts of seabirds, using the common murre as our model species. 36 live, wild-caught common murres were enrolled in the study. 6 treatment groups were exposed to increasing concentrations of the dispersant Corexit and/or Prudhoe Bay crude oil. We assessed waterproofing of each bird's plumage before and at multiple time points after exposure. We also collected feather samples and evaluated microscopic feather structure at each time point. In our study, murre waterproofing was negatively affected in a similar, dose-dependent manner by both crude oil and by chemically dispersed crude oil. We documented feather structural changes that were associated with waterproofing loss. Dispersant alone also had negative waterproofing effects, with catastrophic consequences at high concentrations. However, the feather structural changes that we observed with oil and dispersed oil exposure were not observed with dispersant-only exposure. We also observed that the negative impacts of the dispersant improved with time spent out of water, whereas the impacts of oil and dispersed oil did not improve over time. After the study, each bird was cleaned and conditioned for release according to protocols used during oil spill response. Thanks for viewing this sneak peek at our work, and I invite you to read the full paper in the Journal of Wildlife Disease.